Heirloom makes a scrub daddy for the air. Optus plays hide and go seek with their security reports. These stories and much more on today's episode of MSP Dispatch.
This episode is presented by OIT VoIP. Enhance your client's communication abilities with our VoIP solution, featuring integrated billing, on-demand training, and live US support. Collaborate seamlessly with Microsoft Teams integration and put your entire phone system in your pocket with MOVEit. Improve your offerings and increase profitability with reliable service for 1/10 of the average MSP acquisition cost. To learn more, visit oit.co or dial 844-CALL-OIT.
Good morning and welcome to the November 14th episode of MSP Dispatch, your source for news, community events, and commentary in the MSP channel. I'm Royal Orsini, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Tony Francisco. How you doing, Tony?
Excellent, brother. Excellent. Fresh. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, I can smell ConnectWise. I'm fresh off the ConnectWise bus. You know, like.
Can you feel that automation? Can you feel it all over you?
Yeah, I can feel the Wise Awards, off of everyone. Oh man, it was great. You know what? I didn't get a chance to see you. Just for the record, I was in and out. I was out by like 5 o'clock the next morning, and I had a board meeting I had to do. And what's that called?
I think you just said on camera you had more important things than hanging out with me in the dispatch community.
Listen,
wow.
What actually happened is my liver sent me an email that says I cannot survive another just a few drinks with Ray. That's what actually happened. I just want to point that out.
I do not appreciate that I've been given the moniker of I'm basically the Thanos of everybody's trying. Because I snap my fingers and suddenly, people are dancing on tables.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just a host, sir. I just know how to host a good party. Just like we know how to host a good news show with awesome stories. What do you say we get into it?
Let's get into the news.
In my first top story, police take down BulletProftLink, a large-scale phishing provider written by Bill Toulis for Bleeping Computer. The Royal Malaysian Police, aided by the Australian Federal Police and the FBI, successfully took down BulletProftLink, which is a phishing-as-a-service platform known for offering over 300 phishing templates. While it had been operational since 2015, it gained prominence in 2018, boasting thousands of subscribers, including those purchasing batches of credential logs. In a 2021 report, Microsoft drew attention to the platform's capacity to facilitate phishing attacks and harvest stolen credentials, particularly targeting Microsoft Office, DHL, and financial institutions. Notably, some of these phishing pages were hosted on legitimate cloud services like Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure. It also featured Evil Nginx 2 to bypass multi-factor authentication. Following their operation on November 6th, authorities arrested 8 individuals, including the leader, and assets such as cryptocurrency wallets, servers, and computers were seized. So, Tony, I guess Halloween's over. I mean, we have all the scary stories gone, and we're starting off mid-November, with a nice story. Yay for the home team. Does this matter?
Okay, first off, addressing that, yay, we're in the spirit of terror. But let's cut to the chase. Phishing I'm looking at the notes here. Phishing as a service platform. I want to point out, I build platforms. That's what I do. I would never consider, hey, listen, a robbery as a service platform. Now that is, it is like you know what? Ophthalmology as a service platform.
Sir, I have a service to make services as a service and then bundle that as a service. You're welcome.
That's Malkovich for being John Malkovich.
Yeah, exactly.
So phishing as a service. So just so everyone out there is aware of what we're talking about right now, we are talking about not just phishing is a mainstream issue. Phishing is now commoditized to the level of mass production. Think script kiddie, but now for the masses, and designed for one thing and only one thing: exploitation. the show has, first off, to the Malaysian PD, thank you for job security and for the years of trauma ahead. I now know that I have enough to talk about because we're at this level. Phishing used to be cool, and now it's phishing. What are your thoughts, Ray?
I mean, bad guys like money. Good for them. This isn't surprising. It's not that big of a deal. It's the bad guys are really good at scale. Like bad guys are really good at, repeating things. It's just a matter of you want to make sure that you're also combating in a similar scalable way, a similarly efficient way, a way so that you can, actually do something about it.
Ray, you're saying something that I think we're all processing in the back of our mind right now, which is we are sharing information about phishing as a service. We're processing the evil, was it Engine X or Evil Gen X2, which I think Evil Engine X, which would have been a whole new DNS issue. But what we're sharing right now is the mass production of well architected and orchestrated processes to achieve bad things by multiple people. At the same time, on MSP Dispatch, we share processes and the evolution of policies being implemented at government, not singular, but multiple government level around the world to address the very things we're talking about here. It's happening all the time, Ray, and you and I hear about it every single day. The audience that we talk to hears about it every single day. The tools that we share should be implemented or reviewed every single day because the bad guys are not stopping. It's every single day. So I think that's where you're going with it, but at the end of the day, all I hear is ConnectWise. Great seeing you, ConnectWise. I'm bummed we didn't run into each other, and then we're sharing back to the rules of devastation, travesty, and hopefully some good things around the horizon.
I would think so. It's nice, and plus, keeping that theme up of good news, score one for the good guys. We're going to make the earth better too.
Absolutely correct, Ray. Got the tragedy, travesty, the terror, and now some good stuff from news.yahoo.com. Heirloom Carbon Technologies, a startup based in California, has launched the first commercial plant in the U.S. to employ direct air capture technology to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The plant uses a novel process that involves heating limestone, releasing carbon dioxide, and then turning the resulting calcium oxide back into limestone, locking away the captured carbon. Heirloom plans to sell carbon removal credits to companies looking to offset their emissions, with Microsoft already striking a deal to eliminate 315,000 tons of CO2. Critics argue that such methods are costly and could avert attention from emission reduction efforts, while environmentalists are very concerned about oil companies' involvement in the technology. However, supporters believe that direct air capture is a crucial tool in the fight against climate change, and it can help offset emissions that are difficult to eliminate entirely. Ray, give me your thoughts on this, because there's so many questions that I have, because is it possible to eliminate carbon? They're talking about the CO2 component. Are they producing CO2 and replacing it with something else? I'm trying to figure out, is this a step in the right direction? Are we finally using technology? Is this the entry to a massive scaled out operation to improve the environment? I guess that's the question that I am asking along with others.
So maybe it's because I feel like I'm coming off a vacation a little bit, so I'm a little more positive. Maybe it's the two positive stories back to back. But I look at wind farms, solar farms, desalination plants. These are filtering. These are all things that are cleaner sources of what we need. But it's, get ready, Phil, but they don't do anything to unfuck the earth, right? Most climatologists, I don't know, smart people with glasses that follow the climate, most of them agree that we're well past being able to undo anything by just changing how we produce pollution and limiting what we produce. So seeing stories where we're actually actively trying to scrub the air or do something to reverse it is a big deal. I think that provides hope. I think that's a step in the right direction. Similarly to wind farms, solar farms, and anything else, they're tools. I'm sure it can't be used everywhere. I'm sure there's going to be cost considerations, but it's an extra tool in the toolbox, right? I'm not saying, we all understand the 10 millimeter socket gets all the work, but the other sockets have a role to play too. Are you as bullish on this, Tony, or is it just a bunch of hot air?
I see what you did there. No, I'm truly wondering if we're using technology in the right way. The problems of the past will lead to the solutions of the future. We know that. But there's also the concept where this could sound like Jenga, where we're, big Jenga, where we're not really adding or even removing any of the components from the bottom, but we're just adding things to the top, and it's definitely getting taller, but it could be more unstable because we're not really accounting for scalability, we're not accounting for the mass production of, and we're not accounting for the evolution on the back end. So while we're putting out fires in the front, we're not recognizing that we're setting fire to the fire truck right behind us. So I'm trying to figure out how this is going to scale, but I do love that we're finally implementing technology at a massive scale to do something good for the planet, as opposed to, don't get me wrong, love fracking and all the other things that we've invented along the way, but the peripheral impact, the blast radius is unforeseen. This, I don't see a massive negative blast radius in any way, shape, or form. But that's my opinion. I want to know where it could go. And frankly, if Microsoft's doing it, it's got to be good, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Maybe Microsoft's just being a little more public because, once something gets out, the cat's out of the bag and everyone's hearing about it. I think you got a story about that.
And in my third top story, rounding out the top three of good news, Optus loses court bid to keep report into cause of the 2022 cyber attack a secret. Written by Josh Taylor for The Guardian. Optus lost a court battle to keep a report hidden regarding the 2022 cyber attack, which exposed the personal data of about 10 million customers. A judge rejected Optus's legal privilege claim, prompting investigation by the Office of Australian Information Commissioner, or OAIC, and a federal court class action which sought access to the Deloitte report. Optus argued that the report primarily accessed companies' legal risk, assisting its internal and external lawyers in advising on the hack-related risks. However, the judge noted that Optus's public statement about the report's purpose presented a problem for their legal privilege claim. The report will remain private unless used as evidence in the case or Optus doesn't object to its release. Tony, the TLDR on this is that they blocked the bid to hide the entire report. They haven't said what parts are going to be public yet, but the court has already determined all of it will not be private. Some parts may continue to be private. We don't know yet. Does this battle matter? Because we've seen details of some of these attacks, right? Cloudflare has been notoriously public. LastPass has been notoriously private. We've seen both sides of this coin and everything in between. At the end of the day, these attacks keep happening. So the argument that we learn from them, I don't see that as a practical thing more than a curiosity thing. What's your take on this?
I feel like we are witnessing front row to a communication cul-de-sac where it's just let's talk, and we're mistaking activity for productivity. Nothing really ever gets done. I do love the fact that the court said, yeah, we're done with that. You don't get to keep all of that private. This is basically the root cause analysis in some way, shape, or form of exactly what occurred. I think that business, if they continue in this path, is a highly lucrative hamster wheel, and once they're in, as long as they don't trip, they'll be okay. And it's just a matter of time until people like you come up with the term LastPassy, and which is just the chef's kiss of summarizing the situation. But I do believe that the court is saying, they're putting the kibosh on the, hey, we're gonna do a whole bunch of hand wavy stuff, but nothing really gets done. That's my take on it. What's yours?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I do see this stuff. Yes, there are learning moments there, but I forget who actually said this originally. But the line goes, the only people that win in court are the lawyers. And when you're talking about action for the sake of action, yeah. Now, if you want to say they're fighting to make it public so that others can, so that others might go after Optus for further damages, because now you can show negligence if there was, or any missteps. And that there is a legal point to that kind of strategy, which is basically you're trying to open Pandora's box and see what you can play with, right? I don't think it rises to the sense of MSPs are going out and saying, I need to see this report and see what happened, other than sheer curiosity, because I also don't know how it relates down to the individual user. What I'd like to see is MSPs tell us, are we off base? Are you interested? Do you care? Do you want us to move on with life? And are you tired of hearing all the feel-good stories where we're winning and go back to terrifying the crap out of you? Because we'll do it. Just for you, MSPs. Just for you. So,
I don't know if you can put the pin back in that grenade. You just said, well, I don't know. And the MSPs are like, let it flow. Let me pull the keystone now to an avalanche of horror. We want to watch Tony break on camera. Sorry.
Yes.
Continue.
We're basically going from unicorns and rainbows to like a Vincent Price movie. I'm totally down for that. But for now, Tony, what do you say we get into some notables, huh?
That's a good idea. Let's do it. And in my first story from bleepingcomputer.com, Sergio Gotlan reports that Microsoft has granted a 3-year extension to Windows Server 2012 Extended Security Updates, that's ESUs, and now available until October 2026. The extension aims to facilitate a smoother transition to supported versions or migration to Azure for administrators. Windows Server 2012 saw the end of its mainstream support in October of 2018 and reach its end of support in October of 2023. The extension serves as an extra buffer for customers to manage the transition effectively. Microsoft encourages organizations to consider upgrading to Windows Server 2022 or migrating databases and applications to Azure virtual machines, offering free extended security updates for 3 years beyond the end of support. In my next notable mention from CRN.com, the cyber criminal group behind the data extortion attacks, including this year's MOVEit campaign, has been observed exploiting a now patched vulnerability in the IT service management platform, SysAid, according to Microsoft researchers. These attacks, attributed to a threat actor known as Lace Tempest, involved in distribution of CLOP ransomware. Organizations using SysAid should apply the patch and monitor for signs of exploitation, as Lace Tempest may exfiltrate data and deploy CLOP ransomware internally. SysAid has previously identified a 0-day vulnerability affecting its on-premise software and has since released a patch to address the issue.
In my first notable mention, OpenAI confirms DDoS attacks behind ongoing ChatGPT outages, written by Sergio Gotlan for Bleeping Computer. OpenAI has encountered periodic outages in the past 24 hours as a result of distributed denial of service attacks, targeting its API and ChatGPT services. Although OpenAI initially didn't clarify the cause, they later confirmed the ongoing DDoS attacks and are actively addressing the issue. Users encountered errors such as, something seems to have gone wrong. There was another one saying there was an error generating a response to the queries. Anonymous Sudan claimed responsibility for the attack, citing OpenAI's alleged bias towards Israel. The attackers leveraged the Skynet botnet for Layer 7 DDoS attacks, disrupting services at the application level. These services have prompted some experts to speculate about the potential for a false flag operation and potential Russian involvement. In my second notable mention, Backblaze hits $100 million of annual recurring revenue, but computer backups still stall. Written by Chris Meller for Blocks and Files. Backblaze, a cloud storage provider, achieved a 15% year-over-year revenue growth, reaching $25.3 million in Q3 2023, despite posting a $16.1 million loss as they prioritized growth over profitability. Their annual recurring revenue exceeded $100.9 million, marking a 15% year-over-year increase. Within their offerings, the computer backup business contributed $13.7 million, up 4% year-over-year, while B2 Cloud Storage generated $11.6 million. B2 Cloud Storage ARR notably rose by 31% year-over-year to $46.8 million. Price hikes in both segments might have affected growth, prompting customers to opt for longer contracts to secure pricing. Backblaze anticipates achieving positive adjusted EBITDA in Q4, representing a significant milestone.
There are plenty of amazing upcoming events taking place across the community, so let's see what's happening this week. Starting tomorrow, the 15th at 11 a.m. Eastern, Acronis Academy Cloud Tech Recertification Live Training. And also on the 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern, Pillar November Security Briefing, presented by Pillar. And on the 16th at 1 p.m., Fireside Chat, the process part of People, Process, and Technology, presented by Huntress. And coming from the MSP Media Network this week we have, later today at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Wins and Losses, Episode 12. And on the 15th at 10 a.m., AI Roundup, Episode 39. And later this week, on Friday the 17th at 11 a.m. Eastern, MSP Community Live is back for Episode 19. Are you engrossed by the intriguing world of AI? Do you find yourself relying more on ChatGPT every day? Are you fascinated by creating visuals with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion? Or could it be you're contemplating the deep-seated implications AI has for your professional field? If you're struggling to keep abreast of all the AI developments, don't worry. I'm Phil Buck, the host of AI Roundup, a weekly digest of all things AI. Make sure to check in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern for a concise roundup of the most captivating AI news right here on the MSP Media Network.
So how'd you like today's episode? If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, go and hit it 3, 5, 7 times. You know the deal. And if you want to hear more, go and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube or your favorite podcatcher. Did you know we also have a Discord where we post stories all week? You can propose your own stories and even vote on which ones we'll cover. As my friend Rich Mankey says, make sure to tell a friend. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at MSP Media TV. Have any questions? Email news@mspmedia.tv for answers on the next episode, or leave us a voicemail, 833 MSP Network. All right, Tony, we had some feel-good stories. We're coming off of Halloween 14 days later, but we're doing it. We have some news out of ConnectWise. We got special reports coming out all week long with some interviews we did at ConnectWise, IT Nation Connect. Not a bad way to start off the week, huh?
It's not bad. I just finished my Halloween candy from like 2010. I'm like, if Halloweens can just slow down just a hair, like I've just reassigned myself a new batch of diabetes. I'm the stratification of my diabetes now. They're gonna like, you have a new form of diabetes. Maybe stop eating Twix. If I do that, I die. Yes, but Halloween was fun. ConnectWise was amazing. And this show is the best.
I mean, the good thing is we have no holidays coming up next week. It'll be completely quiet, nice and relaxing.
Yes.
Nothing till December. Yeah.
Well, Thanksgiving.
Only in the United States. The rest of the world's
point.
like,
They don't
yeah,
care.
it's a Thursday. And,
That's funny.
But you know what? I can't wait till next week. Should be fun. But thank you for spending today with me and going over all these news and, showing that the MSPs, there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, possibly. But don't go towards the light. Anyway, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves and each other.
Take care, everyone. Be safe.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.
These stories and much more in today's episode of MSP